We need to experience it right here on the Pop Culture Paradise.
Absolutely. It's happening. That's how we're spending Christmas one week.
Now, my final pickup was actually an event that I went to today. I went to Zany's Comedy Club in Nashville to visit Mr. 83 Weeks himself, Eric Bischoff, or should I say, Jerkoff.
Clip.
And that's a fact, Eric Bischoff. So put that in your pipe and smoke it.
And CONRAD Thompson.
Nice. Now, I'm super jealous because you're like meeting all these guys from back in the day. And
they're all just coming here, man. It's crazy.
And when you say you're a Jim Cornette guy, and some people are Paul Heyman guys, I'm a Bischoff guy. Like,
hell yeah,
you
dude.
know me, the WCW is my thing. And when I listen to Bischoff talk, he's like this fusion between your Paul Heyman, but with a guy who had access to money, but with a Vince McMahon brain. Yeah. And I think if like obviously he builds himself up a lot. He's a pretty good hype man for himself. I think if Eric Bischoff was like in charge the way Vince McMahon was, they'd still be around right now. And I think Bischoff's best role is to be fully in charge, like not TNA type in charge. I think him having Ted Turner's money, like he brought in the luchadors. He did the NWO, brought that over from Japan over to here. I think when they did hardcore wrestling, I think that was when Russo and them came in and somebody else was in charge. So that wasn't implemented correctly. But like when they give him crap, like even the contracts when they say he spent a lot of money, I've heard him break it down, and it seems like they got a better deal, but not always. Like it sounded just like more guaranteed money than tour money.
Well, the whole thing tonight was pretty cool. I bought meet and greet, obviously. And I sent you a text of those pictures. I got to hold the original like big gold belt
without the NWO fading on it.
Yeah, which was super heavy. Like, dude, I did not expect that. It was like, I don't know if it's because I haven't been to the gym in quite a century or so, but that belt was heavy. So you meet CONRAD, you meet Eazy-E, you know, take pictures with them, you do the belt thing, and then you go down, you know, to where the venue, you know, is the stage and all that. And Eric and CONRAD were drinking from the moment we arrived. They were just throwing back Miller Lights. They have their guy come out on stage to kind of like hype him up. And I guess he's like a radio personality in Huntsville, Alabama. And they bring CONRAD out, they bring Eric out, and they have these 2 buckets full of beers on the table. And they're just tossing them back. CONRAD must have had like 27 beers.
What is he, going for the Andre record?
Is it true that you, in one sitting, drank 117 beers?
Yes. In one night.
I don't know, man, but he was tossing them back.
CONRAD's basically Wade Boggsing.
How much beer? What's the most amount of beers you've ever drank in one day?
In one day?
Yeah.
Over 100.
Yeah. And it was cool. Like, there was a run-in from Tony Schiavone. So as Bischoff is talking his, crap about Schiavone, all of a sudden he walks out from the green room and the place just popped. It was super cool.
Nice. And you said this time Tony Schiavone actually wanted to be there.
Yeah, it was such like night and day from when I had met him at the NWA 70th anniversary show, because he was just very reserved and very quiet. And I was like, that can be perceived different ways. It's like, oh, maybe he doesn't want to be here. Maybe he's just not into all this.
And no one knows what it's like to be hated.
But man, tonight he was letting them fly, man. he was like off the cuff, funny. All those guys together were funny. CONRAD's there just, being the glue that keeps it all together, keeping everything flowing. And he's kind of just feeding Eric. Tell me about this, tell me about that, what's this story? And Bischoff went into some stuff that he doesn't really talk about on his podcast because, once it's recorded and put out there, then it's out there. But what you say at a live show is kind of at the live show, right?
I mean, they hope until something really controversial happens and someone's like, I had it on my cell phone the entire time.
Yeah, or until I tell you right now, one of the stories.
Exactly.
So one of the things that he was telling us, he was going to renegotiate Macho Man Randy Savage, his contract, right, with WCW. And Bischoff said he was at, like, this bar till, like, 4 a.m, drinking, doing whatever he was doing, right? And he gets a call in his hotel room from Macho. And he's like, hey, come over. And this is at like 8 in the morning. And he does the story way better than I do. But here are just kind of like the cliff notes of it so you can know, Joe. Macho's in there in his room, calls him over. Eric goes over to the room. He's like hungover. Macho's trying to talk contract. He's dyeing his hair black as they're talking, right? Bischoff says he's sitting on the edge of the bed. Macho was in the bathroom. And there's a knock on the door. And Macho tells him to get the door. Okay? So when you walk in...
Get that door!
Right? So when Bischoff is walking to the door, the bathroom is on his right. Now, he goes to look at the... he goes to open the door, and he looks over to his right. And there's Macho Man Randy Savage, butt-ass naked. And he had just shaved his whole body hair from his neck down, and it's all over the bathroom floor. And while he has the dye in his hair. And it was so funny, man. And he does it obviously way better. It's his story, but that was like one of the funniest things that I took from it. He did a lot of crapping on Bret Hart, which you love as well. And there was a lot of, booze for Vince Russo, which was funny.
You do know that Bret screwed Bret.
He did.
I truly believe that Bret Hart screwed Bret Hart.
Yeah, man. Overall, it was an awesome show. Tony Schiavone has some cool things to say, and that was kind of a plug because he's going to be back here in Nashville at Zany's doing his show like that next month in December.
Now, did Bischoff have merch?
No, he didn't have any merch there, man. I don't know why. I would have bought some for sure.
Who are these guys who just don't bring merch anywhere? You gotta show.
I don't know, dude. You got to. Like, he was like, oh, you can go get it on the site and all this stuff. And I was just like, I mean, you're here, like, but
and
yeah,
I wanted
dude,
you
it
to
was
get,
awesome.
And I wanted you to get a classic Toy Biz WCW Eric Bischoff, but it wouldn't have arrived in time.
Yeah, and it wouldn't have been him anyway because it was Shane McMahon without his T-shirt on.
That was the Jax. This is the Toy Biz one from the Red and Black Attack one, which you said you're going to collect Toy Biz. Right after you told me that you're not going to let the sickness get you and you're going to stop at Bone Crunchers, you're like, yeah, that might be it. I think I just need to get the Bone Crunchers. But you know what I really want to get? WCW Toy Biz. You know the ones from the first set that I saw? And then I'm like, well, what about the second set? There was a second set?
Oh, my gosh.
Done!
The thing here is this show we're doing is pretty much turning into a reality show, a documentation of my sickness. And it's all your effing fault.
Well, maybe at some point I'll teach you how to contain it. Somewhat. Yeah.